pro athlete physical therapy. So I had some really cool pictures, but can't figure out the TV. Sorry. Other than that, I want to talk about what we're going to touch on today, okay? So they talked about getting big, fast, and strong. That's super important. They talked about pitch design, hitting, right? All the things that you need to be a good baseball player, period. What I want to talk about is how to stay healthy. So many guys that I saw at the professional level, they'd come to Florida, they'd rehab, they'd be mad, they didn't want to be there, they were injured, they were away from their family, it was hot like it isn't here, they just didn't want to be there. And a lot of guys ended up saying, man, I just wish I would have started this stuff that we're doing now when I was 13, 14, 15. Because then at least I would have reduced the risk of me getting injured, right? So that's why now I'm here, because I want to basically give you all the, they're not hacks. What we're going to talk about isn't sexy stuff, right? It's not like, you have TikTok and Instagram, right? You see the craziest stuff with like, this is how you increase your velo, right? Like just stupid drills, right? This is how you stay healthy, just dumb stuff that doesn't actually apply. The problem is you have some pretty good drills too on the other end of the spectrum. There's some good drills, there's some good exercises, there's some good strategies. And so you guys basically, somebody is handing you these Gordon Ramsay, you guys know who Gordon Ramsay is? They're handing you Gordon Ramsay knives, but you guys basically only know at your age how to like make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? So I want to make you a better cook. Because you're going to see all that stuff. You're going to see all the videos. You're going to see all your friends doing the cool stuff with their coaches and their gurus. I want to give you the basics. Like today is going to be the foundation. If you don't like what you learned today, I promise you're going to run into problems down the road, whether it's injury, lack of skill, not making the team, whatever. What I'm giving you, these are tenets that pros follow, right? So if it's not too good for the pros, I think you guys can use them too. What do you think? Okay, I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. I want to talk about number one, structuring a routine and what that looks like, right? Number two, I want to talk about how you should structure your training, what it should look like as you go into high school, as you go into the lower levels of the high school ranks. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is like a couple of different hacks that I see all the time that are considered risk factors. A risk factor is something that increases your risk for something. So I want to talk about two risk factors that increase your risk for injury, and I want to reduce that. Because statistics show, the numbers show, 20% of baseball players your age, 12 to 16, 20% of them have an injury by the time they're 16, an arm injury. So that means these four guys right here, at least one of them has had an injury or is going to have an injury. These four guys right here, same thing, right? Numbers are huge. We haven't solved injuries. We're doing our best, but there are some things that you can do to sort of help reduce your risk. This dude had a lat, so we clocked him a 99 on flat ground, and he had been in rehab for like 8 weeks or something. He was finally back to throwing. He clocked 99 on flat ground, and he was like, take a picture. And I was like, dude. So I took a picture. Let's see, arm care, right, warm-up routine, importance, all that stuff, I sort of mentioned it. So the next thing is, basically, I want you to understand what a routine isn't, okay? And I did sort of already touch on it, but here are all the things that a routine or arm care, this is not what arm care is, right? Ignoring pitch counts, right? There's no such, like, I'm sorry, love you guys, you're developing, you're growing, every day you're getting better. You're not old enough to really be considered elite yet, right? It's just, I'm sorry. It's nothing personal against you. You're just not there yet, right? So, in other words, you can get there, right? Throwing year round, don't recommend that. That's a risk factor for injury, okay? I talk about this a lot with Cole, half-assing J-bands. A lot of guys just going, and they don't really know. They're not really doing anything, right? I would not want to fight your coach. So, what's that? Jake called out. All right, so the other thing is, right, like, ignoring your arm completely. I've seen too many 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and they're well-meaning, they're well-intentioned. They will throw a bullpen or a game or a live BP, and then just don't throw it off for the next 3-4 days. That's not arm care, right? Arm care isn't just on the day that you throw. Long tossing more than like once or twice, depending on, this is a little different, right? It depends on your situation, what you're trying to get at. If you're in season, in routine, you're not trying to necessarily improve your skill. Long tossing more than once or twice a week, not ideal for your arm, okay? And then the next thing is kids that are a little older than you, they tend to do this like, oh, I did my recovery, and they just like went and got dry needled, or they did cupping. They didn't really do arm care, okay? All those things, in conjunction, in a good structure, in a good routine, that is arm care. But individually, that's not arm care. Make sense? You can sit, dude. I'm sorry. You sure? Okay. Well, go ahead.
Just for them, they're not going to ask a whole lot of questions, so I'm going to have to ask them.
Sure.
Ideally, how many days in season should they be doing long toss every day?
In season, if you're competitive and you're trying to win games and the goal is to win games, once or twice a week.
Okay.
Max.
Now, define long toss for these guys.
Yeah, good question. Anything beyond 120 feet, I consider long toss. The reason for that is because at 120 feet, your mechanics completely change. We know based on the biomechanics and the research and the studies that at 120 feet, it looks, without getting on the bump, on the mound as a pitcher, you have pretty good, the mechanics are pretty similar. Once you get past beyond that, you start doing wonky things, you turn your torso, you drop your arm, you raise your arm, you just do weird things that increase your injury risk. Make sense?
Hey, so for the 14U, what are our bases at now? 90. So that's an easy way to gauge. That's 90 feet, 34 feet beyond that, that's your limit. That's where you guys stop. Okay? Don't go any further than that. That makes sense? For the 13U team, it's different. You guys are at 5480 right now. So it's another, I would probably stay around 110. You guys are still developing there. So that's an easy way to dictate how far you guys need to go. Does that make sense? Okay. If you guys have questions, man, ask, please.
And if I ever phrase something and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. I'm used to like the pro numbers and the pro stats and data and stuff like that, and all of the different things that come with it. I know it's different for you guys. So if you need clarification, check me on that. Just ask me. Just be like, hey, what about us? We do X, Y, and Z, okay? Okay. At the end of this, I want to teach you 2 specific things, like I said, to keep your arm healthy, to monitor yourself throughout the season. Other than that, I want to stop right here. What thoughts, questions, concerns you have? Your coach said you wouldn't ask questions. Prove him wrong. You know you want to prove him wrong. Maybe you don't want to prove him wrong. I don't want to prove him wrong. Nothing? You got one? If you're talking and I'm talking, I'm going to assume you're asking a question to clarify something I said. So I'll just ask you what you're saying, okay? Good? Cool. All right. How many of you have seen this type of structure when it comes to throwing? And again, this applies to hitters too. This isn't just pitchers. This is everybody. We're just using pitchers as the example. Have you guys, raise your hand if you've seen this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's good. Everybody's going to learn something. Most people are going to learn something. This is the sample structure that we would have with the pro guys. Okay? This is very generic. In other words, this is just like an example. It doesn't mean that it's every single buddy. It doesn't mean that it's every situation, circumstance. Again, it's called contextually driven. Okay? But this is a general outline that I want you to get the picture of. On a pitcher or hitter, on a day before, it's a light to medium day, okay? So they're going to throw 90 feet. Maybe they'll throw some flat ground pull downs. They're done with their throwing. They're gonna go into the gym. They're gonna do just some aerobic work. They'll hop on the bike. They'll do a weighted vest walk for 20, 30 minutes. They'll pull the sled. That's pretty much it. They're gonna go into, and this is actually before they do anything, when they're the most, because this is the day that we're assuming they're the most rested. They come into the athletic training room, we take their range of motion, we take their strength, we take their grip, we take their jumps, their lands, everything that's gonna help us monitor, hey, how tired is this guy? How at risk for injury is he? How is he feeling, okay? That's the day we collect all the data on the sports med side. Maybe some end range like stability stuff just to sort of activate your muscles, then you go home, okay? Day of, let's say a guy throws 4 or 5 innings, right? He's gonna throw 4 or 5 innings. After the fact, he's gonna do what we'd call a micro lift. So it's a total body lift, but it's basically at 50% intensity or 50% volume, right? So not as much, it's still a lift, but it's not full blown. They're gonna go into the athletic training room. They're gonna get a pump basically to sort of help move the arm along, reverse some of the patterns of what throwing is, okay? Some pretty light stuff, a little bit of mobility, and they're gonna go home. That's their day of. That's their heavy day. The day before was a medium day, medium to light. The next day, the day after, throwing, it's super light. 90 feet max. They won't go any further than 90 feet. They won't work on any skill. Some of them won't even do like plyos to get warmed up. They'll do some bands, they'll do their warm up. They throw 60 feet, just keep the arm moving, then they're done, okay? After that, max effort sprints. Every professional that we had was doing max effort sprints, max effort lifts, max effort jumps. Helps your explosiveness, your athleticism, your strength, your power, everything, right? This is the day after. After that, they're gonna go into the athletic training room again. heavy strength day, shoulder day. Every direction, every motion, every plane, maybe they even do forearm stuff. After that, if they need mobility work, if they need soft tissue, dry needling, cupping, whatever, we'll do a little bit of that, okay? They go home and they sleep. A lot of these guys will take naps because sleep is that important. I don't have it in this specific presentation, but I could do a whole hour on how important sleep is, especially for you guys. You grow when you sleep, your brain develops when you sleep, your body absorbs all of the nutrients, vitamins you need when you sleep. Your bones literally physically grow when you sleep. If you're not sleeping enough, or if you're not sleeping well, then none of this stuff matters. If you're not eating enough, none of this stuff matters. If you're not getting enough protein, none of this stuff matters. Does that all make sense? Cool. Does this sort of, everybody understanding this? So the point that I'm making, I have a marker, your day or your week and your month should be some sort of form of high, low, medium. Rinse and repeat. Or you can go low, high, medium. Medium, high, low. It doesn't matter. What matters is you go like this. It's a predictable roller coaster. You know every day when you walk in, I had a kid, one of the last kids I saw with the UCL issue, he didn't register. Super nice kid, didn't register. I'd walk in, and we'd be like in his throwing program, his pain was gone, his UCL was better, he was throwing. I'd be like, what day are you on? I don't know. And I told him straight up, dude, this is why you're hurt. It's a happy ending though. He ended up messaging me like a month ago, and he was like, oh, my elbow hurts, but I don't want to tell him. I was like, dude, are you doing the stuff that I gave you when I was there? No. He started doing it, and then 2 weeks later, he's player of the week. So he's doing well. This can have a happy ending, right? It doesn't all end doom and gloom. Not everybody gets TJ.